There is a 50-foot drop just there. Yep, that's a mouse. Just 2 extremely venomous snakes, it's all good. There's a big queue of cars and caravans in front of us and it looks like every single one's getting pulled over, so I think we're probably going to get checked as well. It's leaving day. Clean a pizza for my lunch break replacement.
Oh yeah, is it today?
He said to come back on Thursday.
Oh, did he? No worries.
Morning guys. So I've just dropped the van off at the garage to get the windscreen replaced. Shouldn't take more than a couple of hours, he said, so I've just come to chill in this McDonald's for now. As soon as the van's done, I'm gonna go kick that up and then start heading out to the city. The plan is to head to the west coast, but as of yet, don't have anything specific in mind. So I'm just gonna use this time now to do a bit more planning, try and find a campsite for tonight, maybe head towards the Great Ocean Road. To be honest, I just wanna leave Melbourne now. Finally time to leave. It's the first fill up of what I'm sure is going to be many along this trip. The only sort of general plan at the minute is just to head west, which just to Perth is like 2,500 miles, so it's probably going to be quite expensive. I'll keep a tally of every time we fill up and see what the total cost is to get all the way there. First fill up, $92. So now that we're finally on the road, let me just give you a quick update of what's happened. So like I said in the last video, the reason why we've been waiting around Melbourne for the last few weeks is because there was just a few issues with the van that needed fixing before we head out on the road. You know what it's like with mechanics, they can always be a bit dodgy. So we asked a friend who lives in the area for a recommendation, and she told us this garage to go to, so I rung them up and they only had a space 2 weeks from now. So I waited the 2 weeks, took the van in, and they basically said that they couldn't get the parts to fix some of the problems and the only thing they could replace would be the windscreen. I thought, never mind, one thing's better than nothing. So 4 days later, I took the van back in to get the windscreen replaced, and he rung me up after an hour and said that the guy delivering it couldn't deliver it today because he had COVID, and to come back 4 days later again, which was today. Like I said this morning, we took the van in, only to receive a phone call a few hours later to say that they were still missing a part and couldn't fit the windscreen today. Obviously, we've been waiting around for a few weeks already, didn't really want to wait any longer. So I've wasted a month waiting around in Melbourne to spend $460 on this van and get nothing fixed. Never mind, at least we're leaving now. Even though I'm leaving Victoria and starting to head towards Western Australia, there's actually still a lot of the state that I've not even seen yet. To be fair, I've barely been out of Melbourne. That's not to say that there's not a lot to see here, there definitely is, but the plan at the minute is to come back in summer because it's currently winter in Victoria and the weather's just a bit miserable, and to be honest, I just need some sun. But since I was heading west, I just thought might as well head up along the Great Ocean Road on the way out, and I'm glad I did. Just stopped to check out this beach, and it's definitely better than any of the beaches I've seen around the city so far. So just a quick update on how the first day is going. It's currently 8 o'clock. Trying to find a campsite. I am stuck in the middle of nowhere. It's pitch black, it's raining, it's thick fog, and the road that I'm on is closed and too narrow to turn around on. So this is going really well. And to top it all off, I'm about 3 hours away from the nearest campsite. They said the road was closed, but there must be somewhere to turn around. Like, it must get wider somewhere.
Yeah. It did say narrow road, but there must be somewhere where it's like a passing place, or there's somewhere just like where that Stevenson Falls is, and we can turn around.
Oh, this road's tipping right on the side. So I found a bit of road where it looks like I've got enough space to turn around, but there is a 50-foot drop just there. So if you don't ever see this video, then you know why.
Later that night.
So after 6.5 hours of driving, getting completely lost and nearly driving off a cliff, I've finally managed to make it to a campsite for tonight. I'm absolutely starving and I just wanted to sit down and have some food. But as fellow van lifers can tell you, it's never just that simple. I've got in the back of the van, gone to turn the lights on, and as you can tell, they're not working. And then just to make things even better, there was a funny smell in the back of the van. We could hear a rustling the other night and we thought we might have mice. So we went to go buy a mouse trap and guess what? We've got a mouse. Yep, that's a mouse.
Hi everybody!
Ew. Considering that I used to work with animals, I absolutely hate mice. Go on, Mickey, off you go. Be free! Well, that wasn't too bad. That's me done for today. I'm having some food and I'm going to bed. I'll see you tomorrow. So the plan for day 2, yet again, there isn't really a plan. Even though I was driving for like 6 hours yesterday, because of getting lost and everything, I've actually only come about 100 miles from Melbourne, and I've still got 1 day and 11 hours left on the journey. I think the overall goal today is to try and at least get to South Australia. It's about 4.5 hours to the border. First priority for today is going to be finding something to eat, because after the whole mouse debacle last night, I'm pretty sure it ran over all the pots and pans. And we could not be bothered to clean anything at 10 o'clock last night, so we ended up just not eating. So, job 1, find something to eat. Fuel stop number 2. So when I said that getting food would be the first job of today, it might be the only job as well, because that's just taken 3.5 hours. Obviously we had the mouse in the van last night, so I've just pulled over at a supermarket to get some cleaning stuff. I need to give the van a bit of a deep clean. There's a lot of mouse poo in a lot of very nice places, so just going to get a couple of cleaning supplies, and then when we pack up tonight we're going to give the van a proper clean out. Back on the road again. campsite number 2 and home for the night. So it's now day number 5. Just after I got to the campsite on the second day, my camera died, so I actually wasn't able to film anything else once we got there. And to be honest, the last 2 days have just pretty much been driving. This is pretty much what the last 2 days have just looked like. So yeah, I didn't quite make it to South Australia on the second day. I actually stopped at a little campsite about 100 kilometres short of the border called Little Desert National Park. That's just here. But I am now in South Australia and have been for the past 2 days. Just stayed at this little campsite here last night. Van's just over there. We still have about 7 hours of driving to do before we get to Western Australia. The last few days have been pretty much uneventful. I have still been keeping track of fuel as well. There's been 3 more fuel stops since the last one I filmed, which was this much, and this much, bringing the fuel total so far to this. I'll keep track of it for the rest of the journey as well, and I'll check in with you guys at the next stop. That one was the most expensive fuel so far, but the van was pretty much empty this time. We only just made it to the petrol station, luckily. And it's also 187 here, where it's been like 183 or 170 something in most of the ones. So we've been top as well, but never mind, at least we've got fuel. While I was at the petrol station, I thought I'd just check out the wipers as well, because the water stopped squirting out of them, and I thought it might have been broken, but it just, this wire here had just disconnected. So this like feeds the water into where it comes out of there. So that's all it was. So we're just gonna put some tape on that so it doesn't come out again. So I've just parked up in a little town called Seduna. Didn't end up driving too far today, only did about 200k at the end. So still quite a way off the Western Australia border. I was going to do a few more hours of driving, but decided to stay over here tonight for a couple of reasons. Found the cheap campsite, need to do some washing, and I need to wash myself as well because it's been a few days and a bit stinky. Just come out for a walk to the local little supermarket to just get a few supplies for tonight. So just going to head back to the campsite and then washing, dinner, shower, bed. Just got back to the van, time for a shower. I've had my shower, I feel so much better now. I'm going to sit and get some work done before I go and have some tea. Good morning from what's a very foggy and overcast Australia today. As what has apparently become a custom already in this video, there's not really a plan for today. This is the first time I've been back near the coast since the first day of the trip, so I was maybe hoping to spend a couple hours at the beach today, especially since the last 2 days I've just been driving and it's been like bright sunshine and 25 degrees. So naturally, the day that I'm staying in a town right next to the sea, it's 6 degrees colder than yesterday and thick cloud everywhere, so probably going to skip that one for today. On a positive note, I'm pretty sure the mouse problem has gone because I actually managed to sleep all the way through last night without being woken up by scratching sounds at all. So fingers crossed, I can keep them out of the van now. I have read online that peppermint oil is a really good way to deter them, so I've bought some of that and I'm going to try that method. But if you do have any tips or advice on how to keep mice out of a van as well, please feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'd say that I'd like to make it to the West Australia border today. It's only like 5 hours away and I have done more driving than that in one day. But I'm not going to say that as a plan for today because if I say that, it won't happen. So I guess this is just another day of winging it. Quick clean of the solar panels. now that's done, time to get on the road again. Only 20 hours left to go. So for anyone who isn't from Australia, just to give you a sense of how huge the country actually is, we've just left that small town of Seduna, and we are on this current road for the next... and the majority of it just looks like this. Don't get me wrong, it definitely makes for an easy drive because they're just so dead and the roads are pretty much just straight the whole way. But God, it's boring.
It's beautiful.
So I know I keep mentioning heading to Perth, but that's not necessarily the final destination where we're going to end up. The reason why I keep mentioning Perth is because the general idea was just to head towards Western Australia for two key reasons really. One being that I was getting a bit fed up of the miserable weather and the cold in Melbourne and wanted to be somewhere where it was going to be nicer and sunny. And second is that I'd heard there's loads of jobs and work opportunities around there, and we need to find something that counts for our 88 days to extend our visas. That's also part of the reason why there's not been loads of stops and sightseeing along the drive so far, because as much as we'd like to do that, and even though we're not limited on time, we are a bit limited on funds, because the reason for leaving was to find work again, not to do travelling. Not that I don't want to travel and do more sightseeing, obviously that's one of the key reasons why I came to Australia in the first place. It's just that we don't want to risk waiting so long that we're not able to complete our 88 days and then extend our visas, because that would mean we'd have to leave the country and we wouldn't be able to come back. So pretty much everywhere else we've stopped for fuel so far, we've got it for around about $1.80-ish, somewhere around there. We've just pulled up at this one, which is the first petrol station for the last 150 kilometres. $2.66 a litre. The fuel prices might be ridiculous, but this is actually quite a cool little stop. Let me show you some of the stuff. So I'm sure at this point it'll come as no surprise when I say that I still didn't make it to Western Australia last night. But to be fair, it's only about another 10 minutes drive till I get to the border, and I just couldn't pass up staying here for the night. So this little place where we are now is called Border Village, and it's officially the last stop between South Australia and the Western Australian border. It's quite a cool little place, although there's absolutely thousands of flies. And just to show that we are getting into more of the true Australia, this is the first time I've seen one of these. Just two extremely venomous snakes, it's all good. So after 7 full days of driving, 3 time zones, and 3 different Australian states, we finally made it to Western Australia. So just back in the van, coming up on the quarantine checkpoint to see if we're going to get pulled over and searched. We've managed to get through 2 so far, haven't been checked yet, so...
How you going, guys?
Hey, how you going?
Good, just the 2 of you?
Yeah, it's just the 2 of us, yes.
Right, so just fruit, veg, honey, anything at all?
I've got a bag of salad in the fridge.
You got no potatoes or onions?
No, there's no potatoes, no onions.
Whoops. And you've definitely got no honey?
No honey.
No, that's the main thing. And no onions?
No onions.
Ah, good as gold. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Well, that was easier than expected. So you might be wondering why I keep stopping to refuel even though the tank's not empty yet. And the reason is, Australia is just vast. Quite often driving for a couple of hours at a time before we even get to another stop. And since we left Ceduna 2 days ago, the only thing there's been is these little roadhouses. Just to give you an idea of how much nothingness there actually is, I've had no phone service for the last 2 days, and we also keep seeing these signs on the road saying that they can use them as emergency landing strips for airplanes. So just pulled out of that little roadhouse petrol station, not even driven 5 minutes down the road, and saw a little sign for a lookout. And because we've been in a bit of a rush to get to Western Australia, we've not done too many stops so far. So I thought, oh, we'll just pull over and have a look, and I'm glad we did because the view is pretty spectacular. As pretty as this is, there's a lot of miles still to do, so unfortunately it's back in the driving seat again. Quick caffeine break. So we've just had a little unplanned stop because we've just pulled onto a road that I didn't think we'd be doing on this trip. A lot of the roads that we've been driving on have been just straight for as far as you can see. But this one is famous because it is the longest straight road in Australia. So for the next 90 miles, we'll be driving in just a complete straight line. The time currently is 6 o'clock. So we're going to see how long it takes us to drive the 90 miles straight. Good morning from the small town of Norseman, Western Australia. This is where we decided to stay last night. After about 7.5 hours of driving, we got here at like 10:30, but that was after passing through 2 more time zones as well, so we are now 2 hours behind where we was when we originally left Melbourne. Just stopped at this BP garage for a quick refuel, and there's been a little bit of a change of plans as well. So we've actually found this town about 2 hours north of where we are at the minute called Kalgoorlie. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, but it looks like there might be some good job opportunities around there. So we're going to head up that way, get a vibe for the next couple of days and see what it's like, see if we can find some work there, because if we do, it's going to save like an extra 7 hours of driving towards Perth on the west coast. So we're heading off that way now. We should be there within the next 2 hours.
Two hours later.
So I've just made it to Kalgoorlie, this place.
Kalgoorlie.
And naturally, after being pretty much off-grid for 2 days, and this is the first time that we've actually been through any sort of populated area, the first stop that we've come to is... Check it out. So, since we've been out on the road for like the last 8 days now, and we've decided to sort of base ourselves in Kalgoorlie for the next few days, just to see if we can get jobs and stuff, we decided to splurge a little bit, get a nice hotel for the night, you know, just proper comfy bed, proper showers, a little bit of a treat after being on the road for like 10 days straight. I guess the job hunt starts tomorrow. See you next time.